All right, my fifth grade friends, Mrs. Real here for Rosie Revere Engineer Part 2. So the science kit that you guys were supposed to be doing, if we were still at school, doing school, was called Models and Designs. And it's a really cool one if you are like my friend Cameron and liked to mess with all different little things and try to put them together to make things. So I just want to go over a few things, and then I'm going to show you a video that I didn't create, and then we'll go back to our Rosie Revere story and try to look and see if she is using some of these principles that we're talking about. So models and designs. Models are a representation or explanation of something, a system or an interaction that cannot necessarily be seen directly. Okay, so you're going to just make up a representation of whatever thing you're trying to make. So scientists develop models to explain how things work. You can do conceptual models, which is when you draw it out or write about it, or you can do physical models to demonstrate how things work. So think about the solar system for a second. Can't see all of it at the same time. Most of us have never even seen parts of it. That's what the scientists do with their telescopes and the satellites that they send out to kind of map it out. So for those of us who aren't scientists who get to see satellite mapping things, they have created a model that shows us a shrunk down version of what the solar system looks like, our place in it, the other planets around us, all the other stuff that's in there. So that's a design of or that's a model that shows us what that huge kind of mind-blowing idea is and what it would look like if we could see it all at the same time. So scientists collaborate to find solutions to lots of problems. They create things like computers, TVs, cars, everything. Okay, we have a problem, we need a solution to it, they're going to create something, and then once they find a solution to it, we can always make that thing better. They keep working on it, working on it. So one of the things that engineers and scientists who are trying to find solutions to problems, they use simple machines. Simple machines is part of this whole design process where you're trying to figure out, if I use this, could it solve that problem? So there are 6 main simple machines, and you can use them by themselves or you can put them together to make bigger things. And so this is when I'm going to share my screen with a YouTube video that for once I did not create. And it's called Simple Machines for Kids. And it talks about the 6 simple machines. So sit back and watch. When we're done with this, then I'm going to bring up our book again and we're going to go through and see if Rosie's been using some of our simple machines in her creations.
Clarendon Learning explores Simple Machines for Kids. Hey kids, in the beginning, everything had a beginning. Think about it. Huge bustling cities started out as little towns with little buildings. We wouldn't have supercars if Carl Benz hadn't built his first motor wagon. And we never would have gone to the moon if someone hadn't invented the wheel. The wheel and axle is an example of a simple machine. And this is what we're going to explore today, simple machines. Let me introduce you to some important helpers of mine. We call them simple machines. The inclined plane, the lever, the wedge, the screw, the wheel and axle, and the pulley. These tools have made the work I do so much easier. I'd like to show them to you, and I'd like you to use your imagination. Are you ready to learn about simple machines? Awesome! Let's go! Keep in mind that a simple machine has few moving parts and should enable you to do more work with less effort and energy. Look at this person hoist a sail with a simple machine. She's doing more work with less effort. She's crossing the ocean with a simple machine. This is the inclined plane or ramp. It can be used to lift heavy objects from a lower level to a higher level. How much do you think this dump truck weighs? It weighs around 628 tons. That's 1,256,000 pounds. Whoa! And this inclined plane is helping this machine get from a lower level to a higher level with the greatest of ease. Using a gradual ramp enables you to travel up and down much easier. And using a ramp is the way that a person in a wheelchair can get up over a curb or into many buildings with multi-levels. Maybe the ancient pyramids of Giza were built using the inclined plane. I wonder what other simple machine might make good use of the inclined plane. Hey, how about the wheel and axle? Yeah, moving equipment up and down a ramp using wheels is easy. The wheel and axle are used all over the world for all sorts of things. Here's an example of my friend, Mr. Pottery Man. I wonder what he's making. I bet it's a cereal bowl to hold a lot of cereal. And what's he using to make that cereal bowl? You're right, a wheel and axle. Good job. The wheel is probably the greatest simple machine of all time. Think of everything the wheel can do and what we use it for. Just about everything in the world moves because of the wheel. Planes, trains, automobiles, bicycles, unicycles, wagons, horse carts, pickup trucks, hand trucks, wheelbarrows, skates and scooters. Wait, whoa, back up. Is that a six-wheeled truck? Whoa! The wheel and axle have made the work we do easier and recreation more fun. I mean, how fun would a bike be with square wheels? Next, if you give me a fulcrum or a pivot and a plane, I'll give you a lever. Actually, 3 types of levers, depending where you put the pivot. Some examples of the lever as a simple machine are scissors, pliers, a baseball bat. Your arm and elbow is a good example of the lever. The lever gives us leverage to move things. A teeter-totter is a super fun, simple machine. Just ask Lily and Max.
Hi. Hello, friends.
The shovel is a combination of 2 simple machines, the lever and the wedge. Yes, the wedge is a simple machine and very powerful. With the wedge, I can split wood. With a knife as a wedge, I can cut through steaks and chicken and vegetables with ease. I like the wedge. I can use it as a doorstop and keep my door open. A nail is another example of the wedge, a very small but important simple machine. Look at the screw, a simple machine all by itself. With the screw, I can attach things to a wall. I can drill a hole. I can seal a bottle with a screw-on cap. And the spiral staircase? Yep, a screw. What about curly fries? I don't think they're a simple machine, but these sure do look yummy, and I'm getting hungry. But the screw is a very cool simple machine. Which brings us to the final simple machine. Last of all, but not the least of all, the pulley. The pulley is like a wheel but with a groove. With a couple of pulleys and a rope, you can exhibit superhuman strength. Look at this example of Mr. Kitty getting pulled up by a pulley. Look how huge that crane is. A lot of huge buildings all over the world are built by cranes, a simple machine. The elevator uses the simple machine technology of the pulley. And who loves elevator rides? I do. We just learned about the 6 simple machines. Do you remember what they are? The inclined plane, the wheel and axle, the lever, the screw, the wedge, and the pulley. Great job! These are the simple machines. They're around us every day. And when you assemble several simple machines together, you get cool things like cars, airplanes, and roller coasters. The bicycle uses many simple machines. Can you figure out what they are? Can you see the wheel, the lever, and the pulley? Good job! Today's assignment is to look around and identify the simple machines in the world around you. And while you're at it, check out the Clarendon Learning activity pages made for your grade level. Thanks for following Clarendon Learning. Be sure to subscribe. If you're looking for more teaching resources.
All right, guys, so there, in a really quick nutshell, is our 6 simple machines. So inclined plane, wheel and axle, wedge, pulley. Of course, I'm forgetting to screws and levers. Levers are the easiest one. The ones I like that I think are the easiest. So all simple machines start with those 6 pieces, or one of those, or 2 of those, or some combination of those, but every simple machine is at least one of those. So let's go in here and think, what did Rosie use to create some of her ideas and designs in here? So one of the things I remember most was that when she was pulling out her helicopter, or her aunt, the thing I thought was funny was she was using skateboards with the wheels. Remember that simple machines make hard work easier. So instead of having to try to carry out a helicopter by herself, she put it on a platform that had wheels, and the wheels and axles helped her roll it out to a place where she could test it. So if we go back to her cheese hat, we can see, I see some pulleys in here being turned, or some wheels in here being turned by a lever. The middle part would be the axle. Some wedges going around to cut the air to help her fling the cheese everywhere. Same kind of thing for the top of her helicopter. Also, so the helicopter is basically a bigger version of her cheese hat that she was spraying cheese with. I love how she has the doll's head at the end of the lever as her joystick to guide her, to steer herself. But we see some wheels and axles on the inside. Again, we have things going around at the top. The skateboards are there because that's the landing gear. So it wasn't just to help her carry it out there, it's part of her helicopter design. And I love that on this page, these were all the conceptual models, the drawings of different aircraft that women have invented. Well, not always women, well, but they were. So this is a woman became the first woman to fly in a hot air balloon. This is a biplane, has 2 wings, similar to the one flown by Harriet Quimby, the first woman to gain a pilot's license in the United States in 1911. This was the first woman, Lillian Todd was the first woman to design airplanes in 1906. This airplane was flown by Bessie Coleman in 1922. A plane named Friendship was flown by Amelia Earhart to cross the Atlantic Ocean in 1928. There's another, oops, sorry guys, I need to move it so you can see it. This one is the Amelia Earhart crossing the Atlantic one. This one is also used by Amelia Earhart to cross the Atlantic by herself. And it says Lynn Ripplemeyer was the first woman to pilot a Boeing 747 in 1980. So conceptual designs, people drew these, they figured it all out, they start with this plane, and then as technology grows and we get smarter about things and we practice a lot, then we keep trying some other things. So they kept working. they kept changing it. They kept adding new things. I also loved this page way back at the beginning, where I said we could probably spend quite a bit of time looking at all of the stuff she has that she's going to put together. So my hope is that you like to do crafty projects or that sometimes gadgets are interesting. I'm sure if you check Simple Machine projects online, you can find some activities of interest, or you might just go searching through the junk drawer in your kitchen or through your bedroom to find little pieces and parts and gizmos and gadgets and start inventing some things with it, playing around with it, checking out, what does that lever actually do? How is that wheel and axle going to help? Little roller derby cars or go-karts, those kinds of things are awesome Simple Machine ideas. Even if you make them out of straws and paper and construction paper and toilet paper tubes, it doesn't have to be wood or it doesn't have to be a real thing. You can definitely cut up a piece of paper and make some things. Okay, so be thinking of design ideas, how things can be put together, because we're going to get to a point soon in our Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing book that I'm reading to you, where there's more problems than usual with fudge, and we're going to need to create some solutions. Remember, scientists solve problems. And so you are going to get a chance in a few chapters to solve a problem like Peter, or maybe differently than Peter, because we're going to stop, you're going to solve the problem, then we're going to come back into the book, and I will read you Peter's solution and see how it compares to your solution. So if you've got some time, like I said, not when you've been on the computer for 38 hours already. You need to be off the computer for a while. Go find some gadgets. Go find some stuff. Sticks and toilet paper rolls and string and marbles or Legos or whatever you have, whatever you can find. Go outside and get some rocks. It's okay. Outside fresh air is good for you. Create something. See if you can figure out how to put some stuff together. See what it's going to look like. What might it be? And I will check back in with you shortly. Bye-bye.